David Simpson.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and it's good to follow the honourable member for Plymouth, Sutton and Devonport. And we sit together, of course, on the Northern Ireland Affairs Select Committee, and we have many good times. Of course, he has mentioned his visit to Washington. Some of us hadn't the privilege of going, but we hope they had a good time. Can I also pay tribute to the Minister today, who gave a very, very good speech, and can I say a breath of fresh air listening to her debate and how she put it forward, and some of the initiatives that the government is proposing and are currently implementing. So congratulations on that point. Our present day government has a duty of care, I believe, towards each and every member of Her Majesty's Armed Forces right across the whole of the United Kingdom. Within their remit, it is vital that care and support is given to those who continue to live with the scars and the pains of bygone conflicts. And of course, in Northern Ireland, we are all too aware of the pains of battle and what members of the armed forces faced during the years of struggle against the Republican enemy. The military covenant before us is a real and genuine opportunity for the government to show their gratitude to all who fought for the cause right across the whole of Europe during wars and, of course, the conflict in Northern Ireland. Our nation, I believe, has a moral obligation of support towards our military members, and I am proud to say that right across the United Kingdom people are continuing to fulfil that obligation. Let me, of course, remind this House that there are 5 members of Parliament who disregard this covenant and have absolutely no desire to see its full implementation in Northern Ireland. But despite their objection, Sinn Féin cannot build the courage to stand before us in this chamber and explain exactly why they oppose it. Of course, we know why they oppose it, but they haven't got the courage to come here and tell the members why. This attitude, of course, fails to represent the voices of constituents who support this covenant, and it fails to fulfil the overall obligation that we have to support our servicemen and women. But one key area of the covenant that I want to raise in particular, and it has already been touched on, is the whole issue and the importance of transition. I have no doubt that this House recognises that the transition from service back into civilian life is a process that can often provide mental barriers for both the servicemen and women and their families. Support for mental health care patients has been a key issue that I have sought to address in my own constituency of Upper Bann, and it never ceases to amaze me the number of individuals that come into my office over the past number of years with mental health difficulties, changing from military service into civilian service. And I also represent a large swathe of those who currently serve in the armed forces and those that have retired from the armed forces. But in my constituency visits, I hear some horrendous and disturbing stories of those who are struggling with mental health illnesses. Across Northern Ireland, we are facing ever-increasing numbers of mental health cases, with our healthcare professionals and support organisations struggling to meet the demand. However, an ever greater concern is the many patients who think they can deal with their own mental problems and attempt to provide their own remedy of recovery. And as we all know, this can often lead to very dangerous, harrowing and tragic circumstances. Many of our armed force servicemen and women will finish their service without physical injury or any evidence of long-term damage. but in the months and years ahead, the scars and the realities of battle can so often return with even greater effect. If fully implemented, the Covenant should provide the training, education, healthcare referrals and the appropriate career support for all those going through this transitional process. And whilst we listen to some of the figures that have been given, that 94–95% of the Covenant is being implemented, there is a stigma for those in Northern Ireland who are part of the United Kingdom. We heard that 20% is made up of those within Northern Ireland that have put on the Crown Forces, the uniform of the Crown Forces, those that have paid the supreme sacrifices, their families are left. There is a stigma that they were willing to do that. They were willing to pay the sacrifices. They're now going through a difficult time, but they're not worthy to have the full implementation of the Covenant. And there is a stigma there because we are part of the United Kingdom and we know the difficulties. We know that Sinn Féin is putting obstacles in the way, and there needs to be that reassurance for those that I believe have paid many long years and given many years of service to Northern Ireland, to the Crown Forces, and I've said that they have many times have paid the supreme sacrifice, and their families are left to pick up the pieces. So I do congratulate what the Minister has said, congratulate her in her speech today, and we look forward to progress and the full implementation of the Covenant in Northern Ireland.